So that kind of leads me into Dylan into what you might have to talk about. Like, he mentioned plug and play interfaces and CAD Talk being one of those in that longer design phase. And I think about like his project strategy. It mirrors ours a bit. So you can talk a little bit about like our approach, or like how how we should think about those workflows, and what works and how it ties in well to what
Process, right? We do, our first kind of two phases are more around enabling the customer and making sure they have CAD Talk installed, downloaded, licensed, all that ready to go. And then really just some education time of getting to use CAD Talk and understand how it functions. And then we go into kind of our planning phase where we really understand the requirements with the customer, understand what their business processes are and what their CAD standards are, and how we can utilize CAD Talk to enable that push of, kind of a manufacturing ready bill of material to go straight from CAD to a production ready BOM with our tool.
So if I understand, like, if I take like engineering and what Shamil said and what you're saying is that we can, idea being that the getting a plan set early enough, and enabling the people, the super users, so that they can get up and running as quickly as possible, and that we have a good plan all the way through, is what makes the most successful in terms of projects. Do I get that right, Shamil?
Yes,
Good.
that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Section 3. I'll talk about optimizing engineering integration. Talk about data flows. So Jamil, I'd like to get your kind of your viewpoint on these. Project-based manufacturing is large, right? Engineering to order is complex, and lots of designs and information. So can you talk a little bit about like how, like, what you see in these, if you're building a shipyard, you're building a missile, like, talk a little bit about that engineering data. How does that power IFS, and how do you see companies using it?
So engineering data is kind of the driver for everything else, whether it's the project management or the production, right? So engineering data, having an accurate set of accurate engineering data is critical for the execution of the rest of the flows of the IFS ERP, right? So, for example, if you make a mistake or there's an error in the engineering design data that you bring in, it could lead to improper production material, or even project planning, or even some compliance issues, right? So those are some. That's why I think the engineering, the accurate engineering data is very critical to the IFS ERP system.
Yeah, I think about like some of the things IFS has been mentioning here lately, talking about like industrial AI. And I think about like the importance of that data in the ERP, because we all know that AI is all built on data, and the higher quality the data you can get, the more decisions the AI can produce for you. And so, I think engineering data, like you said, it was on the front end of the process, right? Sort of in the beginning, right? It's what you can use to run that industrial AI, is get that information. So it's got to come from somewhere. And Dylan, you talk a little bit about like data quality and engineering, and how that can flow into IFS, and maybe share some examples of what customers are doing, so that they can get, because we've been on a lot of new projects where customers have chosen to implement IFS and CAD Talk, and engineering data flows automatically. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like, and how you see it improve data quality?
Yeah, so one of the biggest powers that we have with CAD Talk is with our transformations engine, right? Of being able to drive further validations when going into IFS. So being able to mitigate some of those incorrect data sets, being able to make it to IFS to begin with, but then, with kind of the consultative approach that we have towards integrations, of being able to help the customers understand with their CAD standards how we're able to mitigate even further any errors that could make it into IFS. But with that kind of automated workflow that we have the capabilities to do of through kind of the engineering change process or new product release, with those engineering workflows on certain states when they're released for production or a change order is approved and completed in engineering, having the ability to automatically push that data into IFS and drive those revisions, and being able to set certain structures to buildable and retire old ones and all of that, so they know without having to have a second step what data is the most accurate and up to date in IFS.